Okay, today on the Cowbridge kitchen, we're going to make a family dish. We're going to make a tuna pasta bake. Yeah, a nice creamy tuna pasta bake. The whole family are just going to get into it because it's dead simple to do. We're going to use rigatoni pasta because this stuff is really good for pasta bakes. You can use other stuff. I've used other stuff in other videos, but this one I'm gonna use this stuff. We're going to want a couple of tins of tuna in spring water. Don't have them in brine or anything like that, just spring water. Want 2 tins of that tuna. There's a few other ingredients down here that we're going to use. So let me show you what we need, and I can show you how to get this dish put together quick and simple. So besides our pasta and our 2 tins of tuna in spring water, we're going to want some Parmesan cheese, okay? You know, 50 grams of this stuff grated. 250 grams of grated cheddar cheese. With 1 tin of sweet corn, we'll just drain all the fluid out of that and pop that into a colander. We're going to want 600 millilitres of full fat milk, and about 50 grams of butter, and 50 grams of plain flour. And then one other ingredient that we're going to need, over by the food processor, I've got a loaf of bread, okay? It's not fresh, it's been there for a couple of days. We're going to want 50 grams of this stuff processed into breadcrumbs. So we'll cut this up into slices. And we're going to get this into the food processor and made into breadcrumbs. And there we are, with our breadcrumbs all made up. We're going to get these into a bowl and mix them with our Parmesan cheese. Okay, so take all of your breadcrumbs out of your food processor now, get them into a bowl. And what you're going to want to do with these now is mix your 50 grams of Parmesan cheese into that. So with your hand, get that all mixed together. There we go. And we can set that aside for use a little bit later on. Okay, so over at the stove, we've got a couple of pans on the stove. I've got one pan here with some, which is 3/4 filled with water, which I'm bringing to the boil. I'm going to cook my pasta in that. Got another pan here, which we're going to use now to make the sauce for the pasta bake. So what we want to do into this pan, get some heat under it. And take your 50 grams of butter and get that into that pan. Let that butter melt. There we are. So once this butter is melted, what we're going to do is you're going to put your 50 grams of flour into the butter and mix it in so you get a nice thick paste. There we are, get that all mixed in. I'm using a fork just because it just mixes better. There we are, we should wind up with a thick paste. Okay, so once that paste is formed, what we're going to do into this pan, we're going to gradually add our milk. There we are, get your milk into there, or 3/4 of it. Get the heat full up on this now and get that cooking away, and eventually this will turn into a thick white sauce. So there we are, as you can see our sauce has thickened up now. It's a nice thick white sauce. What we're going to do is turn the heat off of that, and we're going to add our 250 grams of mature cheddar into that sauce and let it melt in there. So get the whole lot in there. Mix that in nice and carefully. and set that aside. Okay, so into this pan we're going to put our 500 grams of pasta. We're going to get this water as nice and boiling. I'm going to tip the pasta into there. And all we want to do with this is just to boil this, well, high simmer this for about 3 or 4 minutes. We don't want it fully cooked, just want it partly cooked. So we leave that there to simmer. So our pasta has been boiling here or simmering very high for about 3 minutes or so now. It's not cooked, it's kind of al dente. What we're going to do is going to whip it off, we're going to drain it out into a colander, and then we're going to get it mixed with all the other ingredients. So there we go. We have everything over here now that we need to make our tuna pasta bake. Okay, we've got our tuna, we have our breadcrumbs and Parmesan cheese that we made up earlier, our tin of sweet corn, we've got some pepper there for seasoning, our white sauce that we made up with our cheese, our part-baked pasta. Okay, I'm going to use a big casserole dish because I'm going to make quite a lot of this stuff. You can use a square oven dish if you want to and pop it in there, but I'm going to use this. This is going to be great. It's going to be a huge amount for lots to eat. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all, we're going to get our pasta into there. There we are. So there's our pasta in the dish, and then we're going to add all of our white sauce on top of that. Get all of that sauce into there. What you're going to want to do then is mix that, stir it up with your fork to get all of the pasta coated. There we are. Okay, into that then we're going to tip our tuna. It doesn't really matter which order you put this in, I don't suppose. Any order you like. Get that all mixed in. And then last but by no means least into the mix, we're going to add our tuna. Don't need to crunch it up or anything, just tip it in to there. And we'll get that all stirred in so that it's well evenly distributed amongst all of the pasta. There we go. Okay, so there's our bake in the dish. All we need to do now is to season this with some pepper, as much as you like. Depends how spicy you want it. I'm going to put probably a teaspoon of pepper into this, just to season it. And again, we'll mix that in with a fork. And then we add our breadcrumb and Parmesan cheese mix onto the top to make a nice crust on top of that. There we are. Okay, so let's get this mixed in. Let's get this on top of it. Okay, so lastly now, add our breadcrumb and cheese mix evenly over the top. And that is going to form a lovely cheesy crust on our bake. Job done. So we've got an oven on here. It's on about 180 degrees. We're going to pop our pasta, tuna pasta bake into this oven in the middle of the oven, no lid on it, straight in, and it's going to cook in there for about 20 minutes or so until that topping is nice and crisp, and then that is going to be a beautiful family meal. So there we are, our tuna pasta bake has been cooking in the oven now for about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. Just checked it and it's spot on. Just going to whip it out and we'll serve some up. Get a bit of garlic bread done with that. Beautiful.